They say an image is worth 1,000 words. This is what I think of the Lightning Network.
That is one big pile of shit.
If you're into Bitcoin and you support Bitcoin and you support P2P cash, what Bitcoin was meant to be, and at the same time you support Lightning Network, either you are completely misinformed or you suffer from cognitive dissonance, because Lightning Network is the complete opposite of what Bitcoin is supposed to be, peer-to-peer cash.
They let you park your money there, you earn a yield, they collect fees for processing transactions. It's almost like a bank. And let's say G lives in Russia, and they want to send money to E, who lives in America, but there's a war in Ukraine. Well, damn, I guess B, who's located in the USA, is going to take G and say, nope, I can't do business with you anymore. And G might say, well, where's my money? I gave you money to earn interest.
The LN white paper reads like a 2017 ICO, and it's also 3 times the size of the Bitcoin white paper. I've read it so that you don't have to. I've highlighted a few bits just to give you the essence of this nonsense. A decentralized system is proposed whereby transactions are sent over a network of micropayment channels, aka payment channels or transaction channels, whose transfer of value occurs off blockchain.
It's a trap!
The Bitcoin blockchain holds great promise for distributed ledgers, but the blockchain as a payment platform by itself cannot cover the world's commerce anytime in the near future. False, blatant lie. Clearly achieving Visa-like capacity on the Bitcoin network isn't feasible today. Another lie. No home computer in the world can operate with that kind of a bandwidth and storage. Similarly, in the blockchain, if only 2 participants care about an everyday recurring transaction, it's not necessary for all other nodes in the Bitcoin network to know about the transaction.
A few moments later.
Bitcoin Talk. Here's a quote by Satoshi himself from 2010. There is only one global chain. The existing Visa credit network processes about 15 million internet purchases per day worldwide. Bitcoin can already scale much larger than that with existing hardware for a fraction of the cost. It never really hits a scale ceiling. If you're interested, I can go over the ways it would cope with extreme size. So back then, almost 13 years ago, Bitcoin already could transact, in other words, have a higher throughput than Visa and cost significantly less 13 years ago. By Moore's law, we can expect hardware speed to be 10 times faster in 5 years and 100 times faster in 10. Even if Bitcoin grows at crazy adoption rates, I think computer speeds will stay ahead of the number of transactions.
If you don't like it, fuck you.
Since its inception, Bitcoin had it all. It's still the most supreme blockchain out there. Nothing that has come ever since, at almost 14 years now, can compete with the original Bitcoin protocol.
What do you think, Renee? Like, do you think that we can get to a point where even like the first attempt that someone makes that tries to make a payment should work?
So I think that will hardly be possible without severely changing the protocol. So this is the way how the protocol is designed. So payment failures, or at least the failures of attempts, are built into the protocol. The question is, what can we do about this?
Do we have like suggestions on that? Like,
Come on, Barbie, let's go party.
What you could do is, you could basically say, well, if I have enough liquidity, let's do 5 of them concurrently, and let's hope that statistically at least 1 arrives. But then the question is, if we do it in the current protocol, if 2 arrives, somebody could claim 2 payments, and then you would overpay. You don't want to do that.
There is a lot of money to socially engineer the opinions of the crypto community, whether that is on Twitter or whether it's via big YouTube channels. All those influencers, the big ones, are paid to peddle and shape and socially engineer your opinions. This certain somebody has predicted that there is a vulnerability in Lightning Network, that it's a crock of shit, and guess what?
An attack of 5 machines right now by DDoS could actually fracture and force all the channels to close on something like Lightning. And guess what? You can't fix it. It is a multi-depot traveling salesman problem, which you can look up to. What that means, it's an NP hard, which you've got an option. It's a sort of dichotomy here. If you solve Lightning, you've also solved the discrete log problem. What happens if we solve the discrete log problem? Very simple. We don't have public-private key pairs. The only way to make Lightning work, and this is what they don't tell you, is to undo cryptography. If you undo public-private key pairs, you don't have anything.
A few moments later.
I'm sure you have seen this recently. A key developer of the Lightning Network has resigned. Effective now, I'm halting my involvement with the development of the Lightning Network and its implementations, including coordinating the handling of security issues at the protocol level, close the very old issue which was affected to me at this purpose on the bold repository. I think this new class of replacement cycling attacks puts Lightning in a very perilous position where only a sustainable fix can happen at the base layer. And this is why I can't take DAGs or anything else seriously, whether it's Hedera, DAG, what's the other one? Anything to do with DAGs, I just can't take seriously, because if you did a little bit of research, once again you come to the same conclusion that in order to make it work, you need a nice stable layer. You need a solid foundation. And the only solid foundation that it is, and I keep saying this and I'll carry on saying this, because since the inception of Bitcoin, nothing superior has been created. Anything any altcoin can do, whether it's smart contracts, whatever else, can be done on the original Bitcoin. Also, the original Bitcoin is Turing complete. Recently, someone came up and said, do you know what? Bitcoin is Turing complete. Oh, curva! Well, once again, this has been said back in 2015 by a certain somebody. How much more ridiculous can things get? So, cryptonews.net, Turing complete smart contracts arrive on Bitcoin. Developer Robin Linus has published a paper on Bitcoin protocol BitVM, which is capable of processing Turing complete smart contracts. Wow! My God! Wow! In fact, here it is, October 9, 2023. BitVM compute anything on Bitcoin. BitVM is a computing paradigm to express Turing-complete Bitcoin contracts. Amazing! There's just one problem. Written April 10th, 2016 by someone everybody was PSYOP to hate, Dr. Craig S. Wright and Chain. Turing-complete Bitcoin script white paper. 7 years later, we have a genius who finally found out that Bitcoin is Turing-complete.
You fucking donkey!
Here is the SEC BlackRock ETF filing, and they are on point. They really know their stuff. A malicious actor may also obtain control over the Bitcoin network through its influence over core developers by gaining direct control over a core developer or an otherwise influential programmer. Alternatively, some developers may be funded by entities whose interests are at odds with other participants in the Bitcoin network. Some people get it right away, others just cannot process this information. I don't know if it's an IQ problem or what. Bitcoincore.org. The Bitcoin Core versions start in 19th June 2017. In other words, the Bitcoin, that BTC, that is currently #1 on CoinMarketCap, the SegWit copy, which is a fork because the real Bitcoin does not fork, it's stable. So you were airdropped a copy, a SegWit copy in 2017, and here's the proof.
You fucking donkey!
Okay, starts in 2017. So the bastardized SegWit copy airdrop fork version that you currently hold, here it is, starts in 2017. And now they want to further bastardize it and turn it into a complete polar opposite of what Bitcoin's supposed to be with Lightning Network. What makes it even worse is that when you try and hide your transaction, obfuscate them, then it kinda does the opposite and attracts attention, especially when it comes to government bodies. So what do we have here? Criminal investigation, cybercrimes, cryptocurrency initiative. The privacy-centric crypto tokens mentioned in the IRS CI request include Monero, Zcash, Dash, Green, Komodo, Verge, and Horizon. Alongside this, the IRS wants data concerning off-chain networks and sidechains like the Lightning Network. and coins that have integrated the Schnorr signature algorithm like Bitcoin Cash. So when I hear people say the BlackRock ETF might be an index fund, it's like common sense, man. Just add the 2 and 2 together. Happy place, happy place. There will be no index funds. BCH is dead. Once you start trying to anonymize or trying to hide your transactions, then it's like you're flipping the bird at the government bodies. Not that I agree with all of them, but this is what the consequences are.
When I tell you I smell fucking death, I smell fucking death.
I just broke my microphone, so this is how we'll finish off with a conclusion. A protocol translates to a set of rules. With Bitcoin, the original Bitcoin, you have a protocol that is set in stone. In other words, the rules don't change. A programmer can't come in, add something or remove something. A programmer can't come in and say, we're gonna move the digital signatures off chain and call it SegWit, or we're not gonna create another network and central hubs and call a Lightning network and obfuscate transactions, or we can't raise, like suggested by one of the BTC developers, Peter Todd, that eventually we're gonna raise the limit of 21 million coins. So you have a couple of developers who control the keys to the BTC code and they keep changing it. So you are at the mercy of a few developers. They may decide to increase the limit, introduce this, reduce that, but the original Bitcoin is set in stone. So you can rest assured that if you leave coins to your sons or daughters 20, 30 years down the line, the same set of rules, the same supply, your coins will still work, your transactions will still work, the same rules will apply. If you were to build anything on top of the Bitcoin network as a company, say you invest millions or even billions, you know that whatever you build 20, 30 years later will still work. You have that insurance. This is the whole problem. Majority of people, investors, hobbyists in the crypto community can't tell the ass from the elbow. They look at Twitter, which there's a lot of money, a lot of bots, a lot of shills are there to mind fuck you. I'm telling you the truth, okay? It's an unpopular truth. Believe me, I don't earn any brownie points. I don't get paid. I just say how it is, okay? If you support things like the Lightning Network, Schnorr signatures, SegWit, you're not doing yourselves any favor. You're pretty much shooting yourselves in the foot. We want a stable protocol where we can transact P2P. In other words, person to person without a central entity. Lightning Network means that we transact once again through a central entity, which is the complete polar opposite to what Bitcoin is there to do. With SegWit, once again, we move all the P2P cash, just as in a white paper Satoshi Nakamoto said, it's a chain of digital signatures. With SegWit, the digital signatures are moved off chain. And you might think, what is the motivation to try and move the signatures off chain, like with SegWit or with Lightning Network, where you try and obfuscate the transactions? And the whole point is to create anonymous cash. For example, one of the developers who's contributed most of the code to BTC Core,
Vladimir van der Laan, who is supported by the MIT Digital Currency Initiative, which received its money from a company called Digital Garage, which received all of its money from everyone's favorite pedophile, Jeffrey Epstein.
What?
So, yes.
So run that back. Say that again, please.
Vladimir van der Laan has contributed more code to Bitcoin Core than any other developer. He is under the Digital Currency Initiative at MIT, the Massachusetts Institute of Technology.
Yeah.
They received most of their funding from a company called Digital Garage, a guy named Joi Ito. He's a Japanese man.
Yeah.
And they received that money. They actually got busted for laundering that money from Jeffrey Epstein. So Jeffrey Epstein wanted to launder money into and pay Bitcoin Core developers to do something with the protocol, right? So why would Jeffrey Epstein care? Well, think about who Jeffrey Epstein's connections are again. It's a very...
Sorry to interrupt. So when Craig says that they don't want transparent money, they want drug money, pedo money, crime money, that's what he means.
At the very least. In fact, this was brought up with Craig, and Craig said, Epstein, he's like, all things considered, Epstein's not even that bad.
first transaction that happened on Bitcoin for 10,000 Bitcoin was for pizzas. And if you're into conspiracy theory, which I call conspiracy fact, you know we're not talking about pizzas, but we're talking about something seriously sick. The motivation behind this group of BTC core developers is to create anonymous cash so that they can transact on the darknet for the sickest and the filthiest things and not be caught. For example, recently we saw Binance and they were involved in processing funds for Hamas. Apparently it was very little. However, Binance processes, launders money for the worst of the worst. We're talking North Korea, we're talking human trafficking, we're talking things I don't even want to mention on this channel. I hope Binance crushes and bans because they completely also manipulate the price. 90% of their volume is fake. We can't have a free market in crypto until such entities as Binance and their subsidiaries exist. Okay, they are fucking things up for all of us. I want a free market. I'm a complete capitalist. Let the free market decide what is valuable according to its merit and what is not. I also want you to realize that whatever the BTC core developers do, none of it is in your interests. It's in their interests. There are bot farms, well-funded ones, that are paid to go on Twitter, on YouTube, and so on to influence your opinions. If you know what you're talking about and you do your own research, you start to see through the smoke and mirrors and understand that it's bullshit. However, majority of people don't dig that deep and they just take things at face value. This is why I'm here. So, ladies and gents, this is it. Lightning Network is complete bullshit. Segwit is bullshit. January 2024 is around the corner. I'm monitoring the trial that has already commenced. Documents are being submitted. Once again, there's a lot of disinfo on Twitter and you can tell who the paid shills are. If you still haven't hedged yourself, I hope you do. Other than that, that's me for today.
Lightning is not convenient. It has liquidity issues. It's way overcomplicated. It doesn't let me just put a QR code on my website. Like, what the fuck? Lightning's a fucking dumpster fire.
What we've seen is the evolution of the protocol from something that was early and, you sent a transaction and you hoped it would work.
Every time you sent a payment, you were like, is this one going to go through or not?
But sometimes it didn't. And there's this idea of liquidity on Lightning, meaning that you need capital on the network in order to both send and receive payments on Lightning.
Our super well-connected node that has channels, all over the place, being able to service, maybe someone that doesn't have good liquidity, and so you still, that will facilitate a successful payment that would have otherwise failed.
The nature of the nodes on Lightning is those nodes earn fees when people send transactions. So they actually want to route transactions.
People that are just have, large amounts of Bitcoin in treasury or something where that capital is gonna sit trying to earn, routing fees and things like that on it.
And then you have this idea of efficiency. So with Lightning, you could have well-placed nodes.
Our super well-connected node.
Where you can send and receive because they're centrally located with good connections.
That has channels, all over the place.
And then you're actually going to have more efficient routing on the network.
That will facilitate a successful payment that would have otherwise failed.
My problem with Lightning is that they extrapolated this idea that payment channels are cool for one hop, so let's make a multi-hop payment channel network. And that shit doesn't work. You need massive liquidity. You have route finding problems. You're literally barking down like the nastiest engineering challenges in the space, period. And the only way it will be reliable is if there are more centralized entities on that network.
Our super well-connected node
that manage your channels for you. So you basically have an account somewhere. They manage your channels.
They let you park your money there. You earn a yield. They collect fees for processing transactions. It's almost like a bank. And let's say G lives in Russia and they want to send money to E, who lives in America, but there's a war in Ukraine. Well, damn, I guess B, who's located in the USA, is going to take G and say, nope, I can't do business with you anymore. And G might say, well, where's my money? I gave you money to earn interest.